Now, it wouldn't be right to come to a Celtic country like Wales without hearing some music, and I found a lively gang here at the Bell Inn in Newport. This merry band play here most weeks, and Marcus Butler is playing one of his own concertinas. And he's promised to show us how these beautiful instruments are hand-built by a small group of skilled craftsmen. There, all that from the humble concertina. Now, 100 years ago, squeeze boxes, very much like this one, were all the rage. As the 20th century progressed, they fell out of favour. And now, in the 21st century, if you want to order a new squeeze box that's handmade, just like that one, it's going to set you back £1,500, and there's a 4-month waiting list. So I've come to Tredegar House to find out a bit more. Marcus, your name is on the side of the instrument, so clearly you're the right person to talk to here. How exactly does it work?
Well, they actually work by vibrating a metal reed by passing air from one side or the other side. So that you've got a pump in the middle and reeds around the outside and buttons that open little valves to permit air through specific pairs of reeds.
Right, so when your fingers are pushing the buttons, it's actually lifting the reed, isn't it?
Lifting the pads, yeah.
Which creates the note. How do you tune the reeds?
By changing the weight of the reed in relation to each end. You can pick up the reed and take a little off the tip of the reed.
Just with a file like that?
Yes, which will raise the pitch, or take a little bit off about 2/3 down, which will lower the pitch. But it is a minute amount.
It's very sensitive.
It is sensitive.
Incredibly
yes.
sensitive. And obviously you have to tune each reed to a different pitch.
That's correct, yes.
That's incredible how finely you can tune them so easily. Do they always stay in tune?
For about 40 or 50 years, they're pretty accurate.
It's long enough,
after
isn't
that.
it? When was the concertina invented?
Around the 1830s, the concertina specifically, but there were many free reed instruments before that time.
Working on the same principle, the sort of
Same
suck and blow
principle,
and squeeze.
With an air pump in the middle and vibrating a reed, yes.
Is this your own design, this one?
Yes, to a degree. It's an exact copy externally of an 1895 concertina, but the inside does have some modern innovation. Yeah.
Dave, essentially the instrument is a squeeze box, so presumably to make it, you start at either end.
That's correct.
Yeah? So how do you go about doing that?
Right, we buy in big lumps, in this particular case it's walnut.
OK, that's a black walnut, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Big sections.
Oh yes, they come in much larger sections than this.
OK, so you've diminished it down to these tiny little sections.
We have, yeah. I cut these down into particular size pieces. I'm just starting to clean up the ends now. I glue pieces on and then start building it around the jig.
Right, OK, so you've gone all around the edges, you've glued it up, and it's in your special oven baking, which obviously makes the glue set faster.
Oh, yes.
Then what happens?
OK, I take it out of the oven and you end up with something like that.
OK, how strong is that?
It's very strong. It's going to take up to 200 years of playing.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh, yes.
OK, so I presume you need to cover that with something.
That's right. For that instance, we use plywood, used in the aircraft industry. So that's very strong as well.
Yeah.
OK, so we end up with something like that. I glue that in. And then there's another stage where I drill holes.
So you have a template where all the buttons are for the holes?
That's correct, yeah.
Right, OK, and then it's ready for the bellows process?
That's right.
Brilliant. Right, Sue, now it's your turn for part of the production. We've got our two ends. We need the bellows. How do you make them?
Right, well, they're made out of card, and then they're covered with cloth, and then finally with leather.
So there's quite a few materials, isn't there?
There are quite a few, yes, and I'm putting the final bit on now, which is the leather strip.
OK.
Right the way round.
How long does that whole process take you to do?
Approximately 10 hours. About 10 hours, I would think, yeah.
That's quite a lot of time to make
There's
that.
a lot of little parts to
So
be
you
made.
join all the card together with the cloth, which
With the
makes
cloth,
it move, and then the
that's
leather
right.
just seals the joints and makes it airtight.
Yes, it makes
Yeah.
it look nice, yeah.
There's quite a lot of leather on there, isn't there?
There is, yes.
And here is the finished article, and they look fabulous, Marcus. So what sort of people are buying them, and who's buying them?
Well, during the course of this week, we've sent one to Scotland, one to the north of England, and taken orders from Japan.
My word, as far-flung as that.
Yeah.
It is quality all the way through, isn't it?
We do our best at a price.
Well, I think it's a very reasonable price for the quality you give. How important was their role in Welsh folklore?
They're really a dance instrument, and they're for accompanying dance rather than anything else at all.
Yeah, sort of drumming up that Celtic spirit. I
Yes,
think.
sir.
We see lots of concertinas on Flogget, obviously not as good as these ones, but most of them are completely damaged and unplayable. Can they be restored, and do you restore them?
Well, certainly they can be restored. There's virtually nothing short of a horse standing on it that stops us restoring an instrument, and the value is enhanced considerably by restoration.
Yeah. So it won't devalue it then?
Not
It'll
at
actually
all.
put the value up. Well, there's a first, that's for sure. And finally, I thought I'd give you another little burst on the concertina and let you into a little secret. Thank you very much.
The early bird catches the worm. Well, that's the theory. Comedy next here on BBC Two Wales. And if you'd like to know more about Flogget, including how it's made, go to bbc.co.uk/lifestyle.